Hi everyone, my name is Vanessa van Dijk, and in today's video I want to talk about the issue we have with food, especially when you get your information online. Because without really realizing it, you are being shaped by a certain ecosystem. And the problem is that the foods you see recommended by many influencers, articles, or even sometimes doctors are not always recommended because they are the best for you, but often because they are easy to scale, ship, and sell. This is actually very similar to what I talked about in my previous video about the best moisturizer for your skin. Because when you look something up, you often end up with what is most recommended. But that usually just means what is widely available and easy to distribute. And this applies to food as well. With some foods, this is obvious, because with ultra-processed foods like candy bars, you probably already know that they are not good for your health. So you naturally reduce them. But the real issue starts with foods that are considered healthy, because you might be choosing them thinking you are doing something good for your body, while in reality, the version you are eating is very different from the original food. Now let me give you a simple example. A food that is widely recommended is salmon. And on paper it looks like the perfect food because it is rich in omega-3 fatty acids and protein. So naturally, if you're told that you need omega-3, you will likely buy salmon. But you are likely not buying fresh fish directly from the sea. Instead, you are buying fish that has been stored for a long time or even packaged, smoked, or at best frozen. And this is where the issue starts, because by the time it reaches you, it has gone through multiple processes, like storage, transport, sometimes re-storage, and in some cases additional processing, like smoking. So what you end up eating is no longer the same as the original fresh food, and in some cases it may even have started to degrade. Now the question is why foods like salmon is recommended so often. And the answer is not just because it is healthy, but because it fits perfectly into modern systems, where it can be farmed at scale, standardized in quality, processed, stored, and shipped globally, which makes it a very reliable and profitable product. So instead of choosing what is best for you, you might actually be choosing what is easiest to sell. And this does not only apply to salmon. Other popular examples are things like nuts or seeds, because they are easy to package, store, and market. And naturally, this is also where a lot of the attention and research tends to go. So you start seeing studies about them everywhere, which promotes them even more, almost like a complete ecosystem. So in simple terms, it follows where the money is. And I mean, you can also see this with those healthy snacks products like cakes or mixes made with dried fruits and different ingredients all combined into one single product. Sometimes they are even marketed as sugar-free, while they're actually full of it, just in a different form. And I'm sure that you have already seen them before and maybe even wondered who is actually eating that. Me too, and I have to say I really don't know, but they seem popular, or at least very boosted with views and engagement. And part of that is simply because they look very good on camera, but also because these products are easy to produce at scale, easy to combine into different variations, and easy to market across many platforms, very similar to what we just talked about with salmon. While the foods that are actually fresh and simple do not fit as easily into that system, even though they are more often than not a much better choice for your body. So when you see things like that, it does not necessarily mean they are good for your body. It often just means they perform well online. And the bigger issue this creates is that because of this, you might start ignoring what is actually available to you locally. Fresh seasonal foods, local farmers, or even small food vendors are slowly being replaced by mass-marketed products. And in some places this has already happened, where they have largely been replaced by supermarkets or convenience stores, and smaller vendors are no longer present. So the point I want to make in this video is simple. Instead of focusing too much on what is recommended online, take a step back and look at what is actually available to you locally. And if that means your omega-3 intake is lower, then that's completely fine, because that is simply what is natural for your environment. Focus on fresh, real food, food that is locally grown, seasonal, and ideally prepared by yourself. Because the less processed a food is before it reaches you, the more beneficial it usually is for your body, and your skin will thank you too. Now I hope I could also give you some food for thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!